Hey, it's Ben here from the Strength Factory, and this is a video to show you how to warm up before your training sessions. Now it's going to be split into two parts, okay? First of all, we're going to do some mobility work, and then we're going to do the main warm-up part. The mobility work is pretty short and sharp, and it's really just about, letting you get into better positions during your training session. The mobility work we can do now isn't long enough and in-depth enough to really make long-term changes to your mobility. To do that, you need to crack on with your mobility program that you should have as well. Now, after that initial mobility, we're then going to do the warm-up phase, which is movement-based to raise the temperature and really just get all your joints and limbs moving in a full range of motion in lots of different directions, so that when you start training, you're ready to go physically and mentally. You can, if you like, add on 5 to 10 minutes on a piece of cardio kit, so treadmill, bike, skier, whatever it is, rower, 5 or 10 minutes at a low level, just building the intensity. You can do that right at the start of the session, or you can do it after the mobility and warm-up phase if you prefer. It's totally up to you though, depending on how much time you've got. So, first of all, let's go through the mobility. First thing we're going to work on is the hip flexor, which is the muscles and everything down the front of the hip here, and when they get tight, they can really sort of pull you down into this position here, whereas actually we want to be tucked under like this, especially whilst we're training, and that's going to help you get into a neutral spine position for things like squatting, deadlifting, and press-ups and things like that. So I'm going to give you two options. My preferred option is to slightly elevate the rear foot. I'm going to use a ball, but you can use anything like a low box or step. Option two is just to do it on the floor. So you can see there that with my rear foot on the ball, I'm in a half kneeling position, kind of like I'm about to propose to somebody. I then really exaggerated it so you could see how I tilted the hips back, and I did that by really squeezing my bum hard. And then when you squeeze it hard and get your body lined up, you're really going to feel that in the front of your hip, okay, and maybe a little bit down the quad on the front of the thigh as well if you're tight there. Really hold that on tight. It should be uncomfortable, and you're going to hold it for 30 seconds on each side. And that's going to be the same for all of these mobility moves that you're about to do in this mobility part. If you don't have the ball, it's really simple. Just go on the floor. Tilt back, squeeze. Second of all, we're going to work on your hips, i.e. on the side of them though. So we're going to do a yoga type move called a pigeon. Now, this is how it goes. In this position, I can feel it here in the outside of my hip. I'll show you from the side. I just showed you two versions there. I prefer for my body to be upright, whereas a lot of people also prefer to be down on their forearms in that pigeon hold. Remember, you're looking to feel it on the outside of the hip. Just breathe deeply, relax into it, and this is really good after long periods of sitting. We're then going to open up the hips some more, a big hip focus on the mobility by doing a Frogger stretch. Knees apart, and the key here is to point the toes outwards. So with the Frogger, you're really going to feel it opening up that groin and hip area. If you're struggling to turn the toes out, then you can have them sort of tucked under your feet instead, but gradually over time, try and work on getting them facing outwards to get the maximum benefit from that move. We're going to get a little more dynamic now, a bit more movement-based mobility, and do a mountain climber with a rotation. I'll show you how that goes. Each rep of that, I step the foot forward and I put the foot on the outside of my hand, drop the hips a little, but keeping the rear knee off the floor. And you're really gonna feel that through your hamstring, through your hip area. And then I gracefully open up. I'm looking to make a straight line with my arms. And now we're starting to open up the upper back and posture as well. Keep it steady. Try not to like stomp and like huck your way into it. Use control, and gradually you'll get better at doing this, okay? With this, we're not gonna hold it. You're just gonna do 10 reps, 5 each side. If it feels like it's doing you loads of good, you know, and you feel like you want to do more, then crack on. You know, you can always do an extra set of these as well. These are one of my go-to ways to get your body ready to train on the bike, off the bike, or whatever it is you're doing. So you can't really do too many of these. Now we're going to get a bit of work done through the spine. We're going to do a downward dog into cobra. So a bit yoga-y, but just moving nice and smoothly. Again, on this one, we're not going to hold. We're just going to pause for a few seconds in each position. In the two positions there, the downward dog is where my bum is up in the air, and in that position I'm actively pushing the floor away from myself, really pushing into the floor, and I'm trying to bring my chest and knees together, so you're going to feel a big stretch at the back of your legs, possibly in your calves as well, and yeah, you're going to really open up the posture as well by drawing your head and your upper back in between your arms. As I flow down into the cobra position, it's up to you. You can rest your hips on the floor, or if you're a bit stronger and your back feels fine, then you can hover your thighs and hips just off the floor. I also open the shoulders here. I draw through and lift all of this area here in that cobra position. Focus on moving smoothly between the two positions, pausing for a couple of seconds each time. Aim for around 10 reps as well, and you should feel really good after doing that. Next one is going to open up your posture a bit more. So working on your thoracic spine, which is your upper back, which is super important for your posture in training and in your sport, as well as starting to get a little bit of shoulder mobility done. I'm going to use my ball from earlier, but if you don't have that, you can use a low box or a low bench or anything like that. So you can see I started off with 2 hands on the ball, I rolled it out, dropping my chest down, and I'm really just trying to drop my chest and head between the arms. Now the key thing there is I had to really keep my stomach tight. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, when you drop down there, if you're a little tight in the upper back, then all you can do is arch your lower back, and we don't want that. This is not about your lower back. Your lower back needs to stay flat, which means your stomach needs to stay tight. By doing that, we then isolate the area that we want to work on in the upper back. Okay, so that's super important. If you feel that in the lower back, then that means you're not doing it correctly. You need to brace your stomach harder. Imagine someone's going to punch you in the gut, and then roll out into it, dropping the head between the arms. I then did exactly the same thing, single arm, I pushed it out, and I just turned away slightly, and you're going to get a great one all down your lat set. Again, going for about 30 seconds hold in each position. So 30 seconds here, and 30 and 30 on each side there. For the last one, we're going to come off the floor and we're just going to do your ankles. Now, ankles are super important, especially for the mountain bikers who are actually riding. They're important for all of you guys for getting into good positions in the gym, especially for squatting and things like that. So a little bit of time on your ankles, and increasing your range of motion there is going to be really valuable for quality training, which leads to good results, which leads to good performance. So all we can do is going to keep it really simple. I've set up a plate on the floor, but it could be a low step or anything like that, and I'm just going to drop my heel off it, okay, just like you might drop your heel off the bottom step in your house or off a curb or something. You can see I did two versions there. First one on a straight leg, and then I did on a bent leg where my knee was pushed forward. The key there is that your knee stays over your foot. So it's a nice straight line there. Don't let the knee collapse in or anything whilst you do that, which is what a lot of people do if they're tight in their ankle. The knee must stay over the foot as you drop that heel down. Okay, the first one with the straight leg, you're going to feel really in the calf muscle. The second one on the bent leg, you're probably going to feel more in the actual joint, okay? It's important to do both. For those, probably just do 15 seconds straight leg, 15 seconds bent leg on each side. Otherwise, this all starts to take a little bit too long. The only exception to that is if you do your mobility assessment in the second month of the complete programs, and your ankle is one of your target areas that you need to work on, then spend a little longer at the start of the sessions as well. We're now going to do the movement part of the warm-up. Okay, having finished the mobility, we're going to go straight into this. Just try and copy what I do, just try and move smoothly, pain-free, and always think about having a nice upright posture, okay? We spend too much time like this, and you see a lot of people, they come straight from work or straight out of the car, and they come in the gym and they're warming up like this. And actually, we want to be open, okay? So think about opening that posture up. So you're always standing tall, shoulders down and back, breathing through your nose the whole time. So there you go. Those are the warm-up moves. Now I only did a few reps of each one head on and side on, so you can see what's going on. Aim for about 10, okay? So if it's lunges, do 5 on each leg. If you're pretty fit and strong, or if you need a longer warm-up, then you can do 10 on each leg. For all the others, just do 10 reps. So 10 leg swings on each side, you know, 10 of these on each side, and so on. Aim for 10, start there, see how you get on. First time round, you're gonna have to use this video and pause it each time. Pay attention to the positions that I'm in and how you are doing the exercise. As you get better at it, you're gonna probably memorize this and you'll be able to just flow through it all in one go, moving nice and smoothly and nice and fluidly. You should be a little out of breath by the end, as well as just feeling good and ready to train. On the start of your program each month, there is then normally a couple of exercises before the big lifts, and these are to prime you for that lift. So maybe if there's going to be a deadlift that day, there might be an exercise at the start of the program, which is really the end of the warm-up to get you ready to deadlift safely. And then don't forget as well that with exercises like deadlift and heavy squats and things like that, if it says 5 times 5 with a heavy weight, then you don't go straight to that. You do warm-up sets to build up to that as well. That's super important that you take those steps so that you are safe, so you are primed and ready to perform and to be strong, to be powerful, and to really get the most out of your training session. So, number one, if in doubt, do more warm-up. It will pay dividends for your health, for your fitness, for your performance. Number two, all that you've seen today in this video can be used before doing your sport. So before you go mountain biking, motocrossing, skiing, whatever it is, all of that is entirely valid. It's about preparing your body to perform, which is the name of the game. That's what a warm-up is all about. Put the sports science and all the jargon to one side. We're preparing your body to perform. So you can hit the mobility in the morning, maybe after your breakfast, before you hop in the van, drive to the mountain bike trails or the motocross track, or you go across to whatever it is you're doing, and then you can do the movement-based stuff before you then get on your bike or hit the trails or whatever it is you're doing. Okay, so pay attention to doing them correctly. Over time, it becomes second nature, and you'll be able to bang this out without the video, which is ultimately where we want to get you to. Thanks so much.